So the plan today is to that is plugged in. Yeah. Okay. To do a Phenakistoscope. Phenakistoscope. An early animation tool that how it works is you'd have this spinning disc that'd be separated into various sections, and you would have animations happening sort of in sequence coming around. So when you would spin it, you'd look through these cuts into the side of the disc against a mirror, and you'd look. Make a pretty eye. You'd look from the reverse side through these slits against a mirror, and reflected back you'd see these frames, and they play in succession. But you have to look through those slots so that it breaks up the image and it's not just one blurry image altogether. But it's an interesting format because for contemporary animation you don't need it as a tool in order to view it, but it presents all of the frames of an animation simultaneously, so you can watch the same thing happen in succession, and it's an interesting tool in that regard. So I enjoy it because I like seeing what the different formats look like when you're looking on top of it. Because you don't have that same as rigid of a restriction to have those cut sections that you're looking through, you can have it be a little less rigid regarding like the shape, and also a little bit more subtle. So you can treat these not as just angular slices of pie that have, this is 8, it's 360 divided by 8 is 4 times 8 is 32, 6 is 40, 45 degree slices, because it's half of a quarter. 45 degree slices, you still need that like general portion of the wheel to be dedicated to each frame, but in the case of this, you can play with it a little bit and make something like a simple tessellation. So if you have a tessellation, super easy way to make a tessellation. I might do this actually physically, so you can see that sort of element. I might do it with 2 pieces of paper. Draw it out and then cut it out. That's something sort of simple. Let's say you want to create a tessellation out of rectangle. Now let's make it a square, it's easier to deal with. A few different pieces that are all squares. On my end, so it might be acting up on yours as well. Okay, let's make these squares, and then I'll explain the concept of like a simple tessellation deal. So a square is a shape that you can rearrange. Actually, I have one too many of these. And that's your basic thing. It's a repeatable pattern and you can interlock them in that way. But let's say you want to have a shape that's a little bit different than a square. Something you can do is I'll illustrate it and then cut it. You can cut out a section and then reapply the bit to a different section to create a simple tessellation. So let's just make it something simple like this. So what I'm going to do is now physically cut this out and then put it on this edge. And I will end up needing some tape for this. Some tape here. I'm going to cut through all 4 of these because I want to show them interlocking with one another. These aren't perfectly cut, but decently enough. I should use an X-Acto or something that's a little bit better of a blade for this, but this is what I have. So, because I've now cut this section out, if I take it and apply it here, and I have this shape going, it means that that shape is already cut out from this shape, so it's an easy way to shift it left or right in either direction, and then you have your basic sort of tessellation. But you can also take that shape and rotate it one over. I'm going to tape this down just loosely. Not perfectly, but tape that down, and now the shapes can rotate. And if you take that concept and apply it to the Phenakistoscope, you can make a simple tessellation that follows that same behavior in a circular path. So I'm not going to actually cut out all of these, but for the next stage of things. But you have this shape in it, perfectly interlocks and creates a final shape that's equal. So we're going to be doing that with a slightly different starting shape. It's not going to be all squares, it's going to be sections of a larger piece of something. So, easiest way to manage with that is to just fold this piece of paper into 8 sections to get the 45-degree angle that I need. And you can do it just with this, like, simple you don't need to do the tessellation portion for this to work. This is just something that I like adding that sort of element to. I'm just doing this to divide this into 8 sections. Just for my sake of getting a evenly distributed set of 8 sections. This is a little bit wider, I can play with it in some ways, but it also limits me the total number of frames that I can dedicate. I have to make more sort of exaggerated movements. This might be more of a, instead of a constant smooth pace to it, it might be more of a like boom, 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 boom. If that makes sense. Probably doesn't. But it has like start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, and it'll just sort of be advancing in that way. So from here, this is just getting like the basic forms of stuff going. So these are 45-degree sections. And now what I want to do is, I'll use this guy. Use this to get some shapes going. Treat this sort of as like a, that being a general section. And I want to make it so it's sort of going against whatever. And I'm going to be using a technical pen to get this aspect of it, just because it's a little bit more specific and helpful. I'll make fewer sort of errors of difference if I use a thinner marking tool. General shape, and I could use this shape to do the animation, but I'd rather play with it a bit. So what I'm going to do now is let's establish an ending spot. Let's make it about there. So I have this shape, and this is a starting point, and this is an ending point. Those are the important parts, and I'm just going to give that a little bit of a mark so I have an alignment. Now I can play a little bit with what this form might look like. I tend to do these sorts of wiggling guys. Good. So now, let's take this. I'm sorry. Let me just throw a point on top. And this will be, whoop. Okay. Hopefully that's better for power. Watching stuff. Okay, so now we have my basic shape. Does this have more power from the other guy? 1 second. I think I just need to charge it before it's set up because it needs a battery. Let me try something out. Looks a bit tight in here. No way. Hopefully this does enough power. Baseline shape. USB power bank. Completely unexpected. It's my base shape, and what I want to mess with is something where like possibly have some twisty bit. More or less what I was sort of working on yesterday, but applied to barely hear my voice. Is that because I was further away? Music down a little bit. I was having issues. Oh, hey, Eve. Sorry, I didn't see you. I got distracted with the camera cut out, and I think it's... Oh, wait, the music... Let me... One sec. Let me get... I think what you're getting with the audio is that this tape is a little inconsistent, so it's hard for me to judge whether or not you're popping in at a time where the audio's a little bit weird or something else. I also got distracted because this camera, I have it plugged into a dedicated, well, I had it plugged into my USB power bank thing, or not power bank, but my USB hub, and that hub might not have been providing enough power, even though it's the same rating as the power that the charger that the camera came with is for, but actually I'm just go further this direction. But I think it might just not have the amperage for the lights and the other stuff that it's powering. Or no. I think maybe do it this way. And so I plugged it into a slightly higher voltage USB adapter, and hopefully it doesn't cut out again, but cut out twice, and it said low power, so I think it might have just run its course yesterday and didn't have enough internal power to maintain on a lower voltage. So here, let's get some of this ink. Actually, I should really establish what the orientation of this thing as it moves along is. So there'll be nose in the middle, and then it will go to being on the back. This being as small as it is not terrible, but a little bit tight. Back side, and then nose comes up forefront. Back to this side. Pop around. And then we'll have it settle back on the front. I need to monitor it. I'm still establishing stuff with this tape. I'll get better with it as time goes on, but I have to learn as I go. So what I did yesterday was I drew out a shape and went from there, but this time I'm applying it within a Phenakistoscope. So next stage is I'm going to establish some darker lines to follow the form, and then I'm going to draw some lines that or draw some forms to establish where and what's happening. This is like one super elongated face. And then I'll be treating it as separated sections of it, but this just acts as a sort of introductory form. Something I can follow. And this time around, this is ultimately only 8 frames, and so it's gonna have some faster motion maybe. I gotta see what it ends up looking like as I start to break it apart. Damn it. This worked fine yesterday. Let's turn this off. I think I need to let this charge for a bit. That's annoying. Yeah. So that's part of my routine now, is to leave it charging. I'll get back to having it available in just a minute. I think last time what I was able to do was let it, incidentally I was letting it charge while. Is this set to manual? Not continuous. Need to let it charge for a minute. Yeah. Let me check this audio. That's still going. I can angle this down for the moment so you can just see what it is, and then I'll get back to it later on. I'll have to edit my video and such. Okay, let's take this guy. Let's click into properties. Make this high. And put this guy on whatever. Home. Widescreen. Give you some sort of viewpoint. It's not going to be quite the same. Not as good, but I need to let that charge for like 5-10 minutes. Growing pains. Learning. Okay, so now that I have this guy, let's figure out the basics of where I want the sort of heads to fall. So it's going to go from nothing up to something, and I think that might be good to just sort of have a little dude here. So this has 8 frames to get from there to here. These guys are little. I like the idea of having it quickly move and land here. Eight frames to get it there. Eight frames to get it here. Here. So this is looking like this. Let's see what this says. Still low battery. I know that it's not going to charge crazy fast, but let's see if it all works better with this thing. That one should be created for the higher amperage. Let's have it listed. Okay. Oh, it only goes 0.5 amps. Oh, that's not better. I thought that had a higher thing. Okay. What's this one rated for? That's maybe something. 5 volts, 1 amp. So, let's try this out. It might be that I don't have a high enough current. Let me see how long this lasts. Thanks for being patient and let us figure things out. Hopefully this is getting enough power now. Well, we will find out. This whole setup doesn't work. Okay, so for ease of this, let's mark these guys. I'll clear them off later. So this is 01. I think I should do this in stages. Okay, 1, 2. Three. I actually do this while referencing the first one and then come back to it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's just for alignment purposes. Okay. Three. This one needs to be... Actually, I don't need that one anymore. I can just use the first frame as a reference point. 2, 3. Four. Is the middle point. 7. Oh wait, okay, now we're starting again for the next section. And for this one, I'm going to want to have this guy. One is done. Now I need number 2. Two is done. Now I need number 3. Number 4. So some basic shape here, and then I need to reference back to what I established here. Or I need to put these little guys Let that dry. Number 5. And this number 1 so I don't overshoot it. Let's make it just a little bit before that guy. I like these little bubble guys. Need to do a little bit of work on frame 1. And the 2. So now let's start advancing to the next section. Hey Sam. Excuse me. So far the camera's been staying on. I'm not watching as closely with it. Oh, I guess people on. That's nice. Earlier the camera cut out. I think it's because I was using a power block that had lower amperage rating, which means that I have to put a dedicated little charging block guy. Hope your walk was nice and that Chica didn't fart on you. She did. That's okay. She's old. Two, three. Let's actually work backwards. Let's take this 1 to this 8 because it's a more complex action happening. This one section of this brush just wants to keep acting up. Camera keeps cutting out. And there's a dedicated power source. Let's see how long it stays. Thank you, damn it. Alright. I'm gonna have to reconfigure this. For today, I'm gonna have a camera facing me. Give me a minute. Let me leave this charging. Okay. Well, that's the lessons we learned on my end. I need to leave that charging. Give me a moment. Okay. Won't be seeing me today, but you can at least see what I'm working on. And you can see that tape running. It's something. I need to preemptively leave that camera charging for any future things. This is 43. How's that going? Okay. Thank you all for watching and dealing with my little bits of technical difficulties. This should work if I leave that camera charging, I guess. Disconnect this. This is better. Okay. Having not the smoothest day, but that's okay. Slow down a bit. Thank you, Simon. I don't think I said thank you earlier, but I appreciate it. And it's nice and kind of you. Number 3. Hello, epic broad movement. Hey Eileen, it's been a minute. Hope you're doing fine. I had a better camera setup, but then my power was acting up, so I need to let it charge, and I'll probably just finish this one out today without camera facing me, which I pointed to, but you can't see. Today is a Phenakistoscope. And let's do frame number 8. one gets to be super speedy. The overall motion, this is the sort of general direction of it. It's coming like this, but it's doing it in sections, and the plan is to have it be in a Phenakistoscope, in a circular sort of form, something kind of like this, but not this. And it'll have more of a sort of general form that each frame sort of follows, and as the item spins, it'll sort of go here, and then loop here, and then go off the page. But we're still a little bit away from that being done. And because I can pull in, I have enough time to show you the process of combining it digitally, you can see that aspect. But the general motion is up over there. This is only 8 frames long total, so what I've done is I've separated it into 1, 2, 3, 4 sections essentially, or maybe 5 because it'll animate off the page. So over a period of 8 frames, this one becomes this one becomes this one. Did I skip something here? That's 5, 6, 7, think I'm missing a frame. Yep. I didn't catch that until just now. I was wondering, so I think it's actually 6 sections, which means that I'm going to elongate this a little bit further down. And how does that compare on the one before? I think that's okay. Okay. I need to finish this one because I've got these little trail guys. Oh yeah, so it's actually playing from the tape player. That's part of the idea. If you watch it over time, you can see the reels. These guys changing up. I like the idea of having that physicality over there, and that it might be like something where, in the time lapse, it's another way to illustrate time, the passage of time. Which is also why I don't have a quick fix for transitioning to have a camera facing me, because the camera is facing the tape deck. Six and 7. I got it on eBay. eBay is the best place to get working dated electronics. Sometimes they're more expensive. If you search around a bit, you can take a slight risk. And then the audio playing on it is something that I just put together using an old, like, simple drum machine that I also got on eBay, and a synth app on my phone that I've been using to make some sounds and such. The tape, you can just buy new tapes still online pretty easily, which surprised me. I thought it might be more difficult to get that aspect, but pretty easy. Just searched and bought them new. They were like $3 a piece, but you can buy used tapes on eBay for varying prices. Depends on what state elements are and different things. Also, if you have any old tapes that you want to record onto, you can tape over. There's a little tab. Same with VHSs. There's this little tab here that they come intact when it's a tape that's meant to be recorded, but if you have a tape that's a purchase tape, it'll have those knocked out by default. So you see there's that blank space there. You can tape over that or somehow otherwise physically block it, and then you can tape over whatever tapes you may come across. which I've mostly used for VHS because that's the same sort of mechanism used in VHS tapes. Or if you want to prevent yourself from accidentally taping over it, you can snap those off. They're meant to be broken off if you want to not accidentally record over something. The same sort of tabs exist in SD cards and stuff, but they're adjustable because the recording mechanism is a little less permanent. Just need 1/7 and 8 on top. So we're almost done. Now I just need to have this guy animate off. Which I do not need this one for, and I can just sort of do it sequentially. So that's number 1. And I'm just gonna sort of treat this as something twisting off this imagined edge here. If you are buying any old electronics on eBay, you should read a bit more in the description, because sometimes elements of it aren't functioning, or it'll be for parts only if the price is super cheap. A lot of the time it's non-working for parts only, which if you're someone who's more familiar with the mechanical elements of the item you're purchasing, it can be worthwhile. Or if you're just trying to find certain parts and need to replace them for another item, then it's worthwhile. It makes sense. But the cheaper you find something, usually the more likely it is that it's either non-functioning or has some other issues, or it's missing some component. So this one was like in between price. I also got it cheaper because I had some eBay bucks. You can get those for making purchases, and I had gotten something slightly pricier not too long ago, so I was like, I'll just use that as a dedicated thing. But I've gotten various old electronics from eBay because I don't need a lot of things new. I like having dated things here and there, the ones that just older electronics. You're also more likely to find cheaper deals if you don't search vintage in the title, because if you throw vintage in the title, that's usually someone who is selling it to with the idea that a collector will purchase it. So those are some eBay tips. Also, if it's not something that's like super urgent, or you don't really need that one particular item, you just need like some version of it, you can add it to your watch list, and a lot of people have automatic updates for items being added to watch lists where it will give you a discount on that item. Not usually a crazy amount, but to the degree that you can save a couple bucks and maybe end up with what would be free shipping. But you can like go through and add a bunch of items. Also, just in general, lowball someone for a price if you can do like best offer. Those most of the time people will accept a slightly lower price. Depends on the person. And how much you want or need that specific item. I think that's good enough. Because these are all being compiled into a larger thing, I'm just going to scan these and then fill in the solid areas digitally because these are pretty small details and it's just an annoying thing to deal with. Sorry for that loud bit. Okay. So, next, let's unplug this guy. Show these guys, grab this one. And 600 looks good. Other destination. Seems a tiny bit of typing. Other designs in the folder. Is 12. New folder in here. Dash Faceloop scans. What's that? And this one. Faceloops. And let's go. You like the sound? It's still, I don't know what's playing right now, but it's something that I did at some point. Using a little synth app. This one's a little bit blown out because I think I recorded that directly to the I can go this way. Different mechanic, it's less organized. But, it's a little synth app, and you can just make it make a sequence that's up to 16 things, and arpeggiator. Open source, pretty robust for what you can do with it, and it meets my needs of doing something without having to know much about music theory at all. The most that I've done is look up some different major chords, and I know 3 of them. C major, D major, G major. I like C major and G major because C and G, you can just skip one of the white keys and you're to the next one that's in the chord. Just 3 fingers. 2. So I've just been doing like some sequences or arpeggiating using those bits and delays and such. It's fun to do. I think the synth app is just called Synth One. Open source. I think you can do it on iPad as well. It's good for just creating some ambient noise bits. And then I threw a little drum machine on there that's pretty focused on the woodblock sound, which is why I don't think you can see it in the feed, but on the tape it says woodblock, side A. And then I messed up spelling woodblock on side B and decided to leave it, so it's just got a K and no C. Recording the synth directly to the cassette tape means that it has a little bit warbly of a tone to it, and it's kind of blown out a little bit on the high-end treble-ish. I don't know. Or this could also be one that I recorded to my computer and then saved it out. I don't recall. But either way, saving it to the tape and playing it back from the tape makes it have a different sound to it. Is Photoshop open? Yeah, it is. Okay, so let's pull up Window Capture 2. Files, scripts, more files in the stack. I realize that the files are probably named weird. And we got this happening. Zero. Browse. I'm going to order. Actually, I'm going to just name these again. Paste that down. Make sure these are in order. They look to be files, groups, load files in the stack, browse, turn on the right spot. Okay. Grab all these bad boys, throw them in. I need to restart my computer. Always takes a while because I don't do it that often. Good, dude. Okay, so just so I can see what's happening with it. French layers. Those frames. And crack this down for my own sake. Playing that forward. Just so you can see it and I can see it. Let's put curve there in here. Go from this bit, blow out this bit. Resize this to just 1080. So you'll be able to see this as I'm working on the other elements and coming in, aligning some things. Save. Move the lines, and that. And test that here. Actually, take this opportunity to this will make a little bit more visual sense in a minute, once the elements are... Wait, did I actually save that? Yeah. Oh, it's bigger than I thought. Throw it down here. So that's the general motion, that's the outlines of it. It'll be a little bit clearer when the... Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna add something digitally that I negated to throw in here. Forgot to make this dissipate. But because I don't want to have to scan several of these again. This one is more or less just sort of working with having done all the alphabet letters. I just wanted to try and have some of those looping mechanisms, but in a Phenakistoscope. So I'll be rearranging this in a minute. It kind of has underwater jets going with it. Having these little bubble elements definitely adds to that. I'm trying different ways of showing bits of motion blur. Only need like those 2 bits. But anyway, I'll make this a little bit smaller. I'll throw it where my photo usually goes. But now, what I'm going to do is come back. I can get rid of these curves. And fill in these solid bits. It's less risky and easier. This is meant to be solid. Get off the pencil tool. Back to this brush boy. These are ultimately going to be a good amount smaller. But if I work bigger, I don't have to be as precise with making sure everything overlaps as much as I'd like it to and such. I'm going to fill these in and then show this as an animated bit. Let's turn on anti-alias. I have to turn that off for making the emote bit. Fill in a little bit more consistently if I darkened it off. Okay, I need to get those two little dots here, so let's where? I need this guy. Let's see here. So that is sort of trails off a little bit. Now let's show that one as what it sort of looked like afterwards. It's cheating this time, but it's what I went back and put it on the physical, but I missed it. This one's a bit chaotic for controlling all the different sections of it. So you got this one going, and it's a little bit more chaotic visually, but that's because you don't have the solids in there. Now let's throw the solids in there, and it looks a little bit smoother. And if you watch it happening all at once, it's a little bit busier, but if you watch it as the individual, if you track it the whole way across, like if you watch it This in black and white? Yeah, it is. Well, anyway, if you follow it as it's going along, it'll smooth out the varying elements of it. So let's make this 0.01. Actually, jump back, make this bigger. 0.01 seconds. Let's throw this in the desktop. Oops, you want live designs 112 in the folder, and this will be yeah, why did I do that? Okay, just putting these in there. This is filled cropped. Now file new. This is gonna be big. Files, scripts, load file in the stack, browse, jumping up one, filled cropped. Grab all these guys, throw them in there, give it a moment. Next step is going to be arranging all of these. I might decrease these in size first. Actually, I'm just gonna leave them be. We're at 0, 0. Okay, so let's grab these guys, move them into that larger one that I had, even though it's not super necessary. Close out of this. Don't save that. I'm actually going to do a quick thing in Illustrator, but you're not going to be able to see it. I'm just going to make it's easier to make a template to place these items onto, because I've got these markers that I can follow. And I have more success aligning things if I do that. It's running a bit choppy. That's okay. I just need to create new, make it a letter, create that letter. I'm narrating things that you can't see. My computer is running a little hot. So just make it center bit and let's see, rotate. Transform, rotate, 45. Edit. Rotate. Cancel. This is running not great. Got too much stuff going. I'm just trying to get a basic shape template. 45. Let's get this unfilled. Copy this, throw it in here. And I'm gonna rotate this minus 22.5 if I can get it. Okay. Make this multiply, lock that layer, and grab the rest of these bad boys. This is an approximation because my marks aren't 100% accurate. Also, I just make these darken. Looks like a weird snake. So, how do I want this to advance? Do I want it to spin? I want it to advance in that direction, so minus 45, give or take. Minus 90. You know what's nice about working how I'm working is since I did this in things of 8, I can use the automatic snap bit. I don't have to be quite as concerned about getting the degrees of things quite as tight. Because it's a 45. And then after this, I need to go in and clean up some of these markings. And see if there's any other issues. 135. My computer's kind of hating me right now. This looks jumbled, but it'll animate. Forward at 5 degrees. Okay. Let's merge those together. Get rid of that. And come in here and clean some stuff up. Clean up comes towards the edges. This isn't perfect, but it's pretty good. I'd have a better time if I had gotten this shape a little bit tighter from the get-go, or worked digitally to generate it. Okay. Seems generally centered. Let's crop this down a bit. This is kind of chaotic looking, but I kind of like it. So let's so I can show it to you here. I'm going to do this in not the best way imaginable. You can squish it? I don't know, you can squish the emote. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. 8. That should be right. Let me see if this is the same. It might be slightly off, but looks to be the same. Don't need this layer anymore. Come back and add that later. Create frame animation. Make frames from layers. Make this 0.0666. Make this a lot smaller. Give it a moment because it's condensing down stuff that's like 7,000 pixels wide, and it's got 8 layers of it, and I have other stuff in other things. And now let's add a solid white background. I'm actually going to just exit out of this guy so that maybe I have a bit more stuff happening. Now you can use channel points to modify an emote. Cool. Save this as. Let me add these dashes because it's going to help me later on. Tom.gif. Let's quit Illustrator. Don't save that. Oh, it was silent for a while there. I didn't catch that. Okay, so let's. I'll switch out this image. No, I'll add a new one. Image 2. Okay. Where's image 2 located? Right here. Set that right there. Mute it for a moment. Browse. This in here. Get a little smaller. And there you go. This is more chaotic. I think that it's going a little. Let's mute that one and see. Do I have an extra frame in here? Yep, that's what it is. I was like, this is animating bad. It's doing that bit. It's because I had an extra frame. So let's fix that situation. I thought it was my playback was fudging up. Come to. That's better. It's still chaotic. This looks more like a weird molecule or something. This one's super chaotic. But you got this guy on the left is this guy, which is all of these guys. I mean, mute window capture. What happened for mine is, let me make this big, because this is something that you gotta look at probably a bit closer to really get at. Even though this isn't like much more complex as far as the content of it, because the borders aren't as defined for the motion compared to some previous Phenakistoscopes that I have, it means that this looks that much more chaotic with the motion of it, which is interesting. I didn't think about that. I just thought I'll have something going against the form of it a little bit more tightly. Also, one thing that's nice about this, and it doesn't have an orientation. For this one, I was testing it, so I duplicated the first frame to make sure I had rotated it the number of times necessary to make a full rotation, and then I just forgot to get rid of it. That makes sense for yours. So, thanks for bearing with me today through my technical issues. It should be more resolved as I solidify things a little bit more, and I can like leave that camera charging so it has a little bit of a gap. I think having it running, maybe there's some other connection I can use that will provide a constant thing to it, or maybe the cable that it came with is the necessary connection. I don't know, but I need to file it down slightly because to have the HDMI micro connection and the power source, I had to physically cut off part of the charging cable wrapping around the USB-C connection point, which meant that I'd have to do that again for the other one because it's like just weirdly close. It feels like, let me double check what I have connected. Is this one thinner? Or maybe the battery got messed up or something. Where's the battery? Let's see. Now the battery is power. Let's see how small this is. Nope. I can't imagine that the cable's terribly different than what I have otherwise, but anyway. So, thanks again for watching through some technical difficulties and my computer getting a little bit chaotic at times. Spiel time. So if you want to watch this live stream, which I might have to edit down a bit because of the live stream will do whatever. Anyway, you can watch this live stream and previous live streams on youtube.com/traceloops. If you want to purchase this design or similar designs on a t-shirt, you can go to traceloops.com/store and make purchases there. If you are shipping outside of the US and you want to buy something from that store, you can email me, traceloops@trace can help you to make that happen. I need to message someone who messaged me from Belgium, but it was during the stream. If you want to follow me on different platforms, I am on Instagram.com as Traceloops, as well as TikTok. Those are also linked on my channel. You can skirt over there and grab them. Yeah, thanks for dealing with technical difficulties. Should have those resolved in the near future. I'm still not that far into streaming, and I'm changing my setup as stuff goes along, so learning, processing, updating. Because the camera worked fine yesterday, but I think it's because I had charged it. Last night I just left it disconnected from the cable because I was like, I don't need to do that. It's got power when I come to it. So I think it like slowly drains the battery over time. You could also purchase a new battery, but the mount that I have requires you to take it off in order to switch out the battery. So also the batteries are like 60 bucks or something, at least to get them new. If you're getting off-brand, I don't know how best it works, but yeah, if you have any questions, you can throw them in the chat. You can do a whisper thing on Twitch, though I'm not super familiar with Twitch, still learning, as I said, so you got a mix of stuff happening. Just look at it and then make this guy little. So it's still running in the background and stuff. But show you how this physically connects. I might actually move this up a bit. Is that cable in frame? Yeah, it is. That's the HDMI cable. And just arrange these in a way that you can see sort of how they connect. This ends up looking more like a snowflake or something. This isn't perfect because it's just freehand placing stuff down. But it's all based off of that tessellation that I created earlier in the stream, and how those shapes, if you stay within them, can interact with one another and form a more complex final shape. Which is what that guy is. Now I have this set to a determined focus. Let's get this a little bit sharper. So yeah, those are sort of the various stages of this project. And this guy. And somewhere I've got one other drawn. No. Anyway, so it's this shape as 1/8. You can rotate it as long as you animate within that confine, and then each of these animates to the next one. So as you watch it, you're seeing what ultimately is, let's see, like 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48 frames if you're going from this point and following all the way along this path. But effectively it's that, but in actuality you're only watching 8 frames. But because they start at these interstitial points, you end up with motion that can go all the way through. So, yep, that's today's deal. Thank you all for watching. I plan on being back tomorrow around 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't think I have anything else to add right now. appreciate you watching and dealing with my lack of camera for a minute there. And thank you, Sam. Love you too. Maybe you'll get to see more of my face next time if my overhead camera consistently works. Yesterday was fine, and I ran for like 4 hours instead of 3.5. Okay, thank you all for watching. I'm gonna head out. There's a chance that I end up doing a weird thing tomorrow because I'm supposed to get a desk, and I want to set up a dedicated desk for this instead of up and down, setting things up all the time. Okay, I'm waving, but the camera's not there. Goodbye.